Hello YouTube, I'm Dr. Tactical, and the doctor will see you now. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss my two favorite carry guns. The Sig P229, this is the Legion single action only version, and my Staccato XC. Not total apples to apples here because I am rocking the Sig Romeo 1 Pro red dot on this, and I made the choice, even though the XC is cut out for an optic, but I made the choice to stay with iron sights with this, and we'll talk about that too. But before we get started, I've had a lot of questions. Let me just put these down for a sec. For transparency. I show a lot of expensive guns here, a lot of expensive equipment, and I've been asked, to make sure that everybody's aware of the deals that I have with companies and the relationships. So I just want to state right now, for clarification purposes and for full transparency, Staccato, Sig Sauer, Smith & Wesson, H&K, B&K, Ruger, which also includes Marlin, Henry, Colt, IWI, CZ, Wilson Combat, Canic, Stoger, Glock, Chiappa, Beretta, LMT, Stag Arms, Springfield Armory, Silencer Co., Lululemon, Nike, Under Armour, Disney Corp, Daniel Defense, Black Rain, Fila, and Rolex. So those companies I have a deal with in which I'm allowed to pay full market value for their products, and they let me use them. So just wanted that out there for full exposure. So all the money and everything that goes into purchasing things is independent to those companies. Not that I'm not open to it, by the way. So companies, please feel free to reach out. But no matter what, you're still getting my unbiased review on everything that we discuss. So the money that does come into the channel that has helped me with this is through DoctorTactical.com. And there's a lot of it's really hot. I've got lights on in here and it's hot in here. Let me just take this off so I can focus a little more. But anyway, it's all through DoctorTactical.com, where people can make donations, and there is some merch. But I don't want to just shamelessly plug the merch. In fact, one of my concerns, when I came up with some of this stuff, was I wanted to keep it small. I didn't want anything gaudy. And let me see something. I also have anyway, just trying to keep it small. Oh, I know what it is. The lights are still bothering my eyes. Let me just get a hat on here. Okay, so let's get into the battle of these two guns and the pros and the cons. You know what? This helps with the light, but I'm still cold. Hold on. There we go. All right. Gotta take the glasses off for this. So the XC is the new kid on the block, and you know what? It's still cold in here. Hold on one sec. I'll be right back. All right, enough shameless merchandise plugging. I just needed a cup of coffee, that's all. But now I'm back, and we can start talking about guns. Let me put my cup of coffee down here. All right. And by the way, please like and subscribe to the channel. That really helps a lot. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you hit the bell, every time I put out a new video, they'll notify you. So you'll know that something's up. Doesn't mean you have to watch it, but you probably should. All right. So as many of you know, my favorite gun the last year, almost 2 years, I would say year and a half, but almost 2 years, has been the Sig P229 Legion. This is an SAO, single action only, and I just shoot this thing incredibly well. It's thick, it's heavy, it's the smaller version of the 226. This is the 226 Zev, which is also a single action only. So this is a Super Gucci version of the Sig 226, which many of you know was the main choice for the Navy SEALs. This is a really nice gun, but it's large. This is not an easy gun to conceal. But if you can open carry, it's a great gun to have. But I'm looking more for CCW, and this is considerably more compact. And other guns in its class, I really find this to outshoot. I'm just really impressed with this gun. So the newest, we'll call it compact gun to really throw its hat into the arena, and I did a video on this just recently, which is right here. And in fact, we did something on the 229 relatively recently here. And in fact, we'll throw up we did a Zev video too, if you want to take a look at that. So this is the Staccato XC. This is my first Staccato, and this thing is just it's like a religious experience. It really is. This gun is like butter on the slide. It is just beautiful to shoot. It is rock stable, solid. It's got with the compensator, and it's just a nice competition gun. Except USPSA, it's kind of limited to it's open. This is for USPSA open, which really doesn't have any restrictions. So you can have a compensator. It's going to down point you a little bit though, because I'm shooting this. If I'm shooting this at USPSA, I'm shooting it in minor, just 9mm. But anyway, my point is, I love this gun. This gun shoots just incredibly. It's just a workhorse. It's got a 7-pound spring that just is perfect. But again, this is not a easy to conceal gun. This is a big gun, and I would even say this is probably more for the competition. The P is more of a carry gun, which does not have the compensator. But this is just a wonderful gun. And the next Staccato I got was the C2, which is a smaller version and what used to be considered their concealed carry gun. But now they've come out with the CS. Now, just a note on all these guns: they've all been safety checked, cleared, and none of them have magazines in them. So this is the newest entry into the game, and the question when I first introduced this in the other video was, since this was really my go-to, and I had thousands of rounds through this, and was really just starting with this, how do they stack up? And I've now got a lot of rounds through this. I'm prepared to discuss that. So, in every dimension, the Staccato CS is a little bit smaller. Let's just look at that. So, taking the beaver tails to the end, you can see the 229 is a little bit longer. When we stack them this way, the 229 is a little bit taller, sticking up over here. Sorry, I gotta keep my focus here. You can probably see it better this way. Now, the CS holds 16 rounds plus 1, and the 229 holds 15 rounds plus 1. But the magazine, which is loaded, by the way, I'm going to show both magazines, has a slightly bigger base plate on the CS than the P229, the SIG. So this holds one more round, but it also hangs out of the gun a little bit longer. And that's the area we're worried about with printing, is really the butt of the gun, the base. And, well, the gun, there's nothing in the chamber right now. Again, this is a loaded magazine. I'm just going to show you how it sticks out. So that's pretty significant. However, and again, nothing in there. Magazine, we're empty. All right, so they make a 15 round magazine that I found out recently, and I have one ordered to take a look at. But the 15 round should be flush with this and should make the difference of keeping this a little bit shorter. Now, as far as the width of the guns, the CS is thinner. As far as the overall grip circumference, it's definitely the CS definitely has a more comfortable, well, for me, I have medium-sized hands. It's a smaller circumference. So let's take a look at the weight. Let's check the weight on these out, and we're going to check the trigger pulls out. And then we'll talk about what's important, which is how they shoot. Okay, so let's take a look at both of these guns. We're going to look at their weight. So let's start with the Staccato CS. Now, it's no magazine and empty, so we're just weighing strictly the weight of the gun itself. And we are looking at 1 pound, 6.7 ounces. Okay, fair enough. Let's take that away. Let's look at the Sig P229. I'm sorry, P229. Again, no magazine, no rounds in this gun. But it does have an optic, which the CS doesn't, and that's not mandatory, so I don't know what the weight of that is. But this gun, as is 1 pound, 13.3 ounces. So there's a difference there in the weight. So the CS, and I will tell you this, the CS feels considerably lighter than the Sig Sauer P229. But that may also be in part to the smaller grip, and the thinner gun may also give it the feel of being a lighter gun. But it actually is a lighter gun as we're looking at it. And again, just want to point out that this the Sig is rocking an optic that the other's not. All right, let's take a look at the trigger weight on these guns. Okay, so we're going to get the trigger pull weight here using my Wheeler Engineering scale. Many of you have seen this used multiple times. I have the flat end on this for the trigger because these are flat triggers and they're sort of broad. Let me turn this on. Now, some of you may remember, or some of you may already know, that the Wheeler Engineering scale is all up in here. It's not in here. So a lot of trigger pulls where you see people pulling the unit to get the weight, that's not really, you can do that with this, but one of the beauties of this is the scale is here. So like this is what you pinch in here will be affected. So let's clear that out of there. Okay. So what that means is I can actually treat this like a regular trigger. I can take the trigger, put it against that, and I can pull the trigger by pulling this, which I feel gives me a more accurate weight. So let's start with the Sig. Again, it's angled, but it's a flat trigger. Let's go ahead. All right, first one is 4 pounds, 4.1 ounces. Okay, save that. Second one. 4 pounds, 8.3 ounces. Third one. Oh, you know what? I don't think that one recorded. I'm sorry. So let's do the next one. £4 pounds, 3.2 ounces. Let's enter that. So the average between these three is 4.52. So we're talking about so it's 4 pounds, 5.2 ounces. So under 4.5 pounds is is what I'm getting with this. Now, obviously, there's some room for error with, trigger, where I put it on that trigger is affected, and I tried to go back to the same spot repeatedly. Let's see, now the Staccato is a flat trigger and it's straight up and down. Let's see what we get with that. Let me clear everything here. Okay. Okay. 3 pounds, 8.4 ounces. Now, I will tell you one thing I'm noticing is the Staccato has a smaller trigger guard. So if you're wearing gloves or something, it would be more challenging to get into this trigger guard. I definitely was easily able to get into the trigger guard with the scale, and I'm sort of staying a little outside the trigger guard with the scale on the Staccato, but the Sig definitely allowed me. Okay, let me save that. Oops. Delete that. Okay, here we go. Okay, 3 pounds, 12.3 ounces. Let's give that a go. 3 pounds, 12.2 ounces. So, 3 pounds, 11 ounces is our average on that. So 4.5-ish to 3. I'm sorry, it's 4 pounds 5 ounces, not 0.5 pounds. 4 pounds 5 ounces versus 3 pounds 11 ounces. So lighter trigger here. Oh, you know what? There's one other thing I just want to add, which is really a nice feature on the Sig, and not really related to what I was getting ready, the weight of the trigger. But with the Sig, you can actuate the safety. So the safety is on. You can rack it. You can load around into it. And you've got the safety fully functional. So you can put your magazine in. You can load the chamber. You can take the magazine out, reload it, put it back in. All with the safety in place. That's a very nice, safe feature that the Sig has. The Staccato does not have that feature. And if you have the safety up, well, first of all, you can't put the safety up unless the hammer's back. And the safety up, you cannot rack the gun. So, if you want to load the chamber, you've got to put one in, rack it, then hold on for dear life because there's not a decocker to your hammer. Then load the rest of the magazine. And then if you want to carry it cocked and locked with the 16 or 15, depending on the magazine that you have, or 10, depending on the magazine that you have in here, then you can flip up your safety. So it's a little bit more convoluted to load it up, to full capacity for carrying. Something to keep in mind. Sig has really thought that out, and that's a very safe feature, and I love that. So both of these guns have phenomenal triggers, and as far as reset goes, here is the Sig P229. So we're just going to pull the trigger with the safety off. We'll pull the trigger. That short reset trigger, the SRT trigger on this, is just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. I've said it in other videos. It amazes me every time. Okay, so here's our Staccato, the CS. Very nice trigger. Really nice reset. All right, hold on. There has to be a winner here. So they both reset at about the same distance, but let me see something. I just want to confirm this before I say it out loud. And this may be just the way my finger handles it. they're resetting at about the same distance, but then my fingers just sort of feels play before, not when I'm pulling the trigger, like it resets and then keeps going a little bit. It pushes me back a little bit more. I suppose if I'm shooting this regularly, I would probably get used to that exact point. The SRT trigger in the Sig, when that reset, it just stops. I feel it just, I'm there. I've got the tactical. I've got the tactile, I've got this audible, and my finger just stops right at that point and can go right to the next shot. With this, it clicks sort of as I'm moving forward, but nothing stops me from going back and doing the firing, and I do feel it, but it's a little bit different. It's a phenomenal trigger, but I would say from the reset standpoint, I give it to the Sig. So from the shooting standpoint, really hard on this. And again, we're comparing apples and orangutans because I'm using a red dot, the Sig Romeo Pro on this, and I've chosen not to put a dot on this because when I took it out to the range for the first time and started shooting it, this son of a bitch just shot like a monster. I mean, it was spot on. I shot incredibly well. Now this came with a red dot. I've never shot it without a red dot, so I can only speak to the red dot on it. But it shot so well that I really, here's the pros and cons of putting a dot on. You put a dot on, you definitely can acquire quicker your target. You can focus on the target instead of on the sight. There's definite pluses to having a red dot. However, one of my primary concerns is concealability, and the red dot does add some size to areas that are going to push around, poke. It also, most holsters that have red dots have to ride higher because the red dot doesn't usually sit inside the holster, it sits above it. So I've had holsters, like I had a holster for my Sig X, the P229 XL, and I accidentally, when I first got it, it came without a red dot, and I had a holster without a red dot. When I got the red dot, I had to get another holster. I got the exact same model. And when it came, it was set up so that it sat a little bit higher so that the red dot was out of the holster. So that means that if you're carrying appendix, it's going to be riding higher than the belt line, more than you normally would have it. So when you bend down, it's going to want to lean out a little bit more. So just something to keep in mind. I find that without a red dot, concealability is improved, which makes sense because there's less to conceal. Now let's talk about holsters just for a moment too, because this is kind of important. So I have here, let me start, this is just what is this thing, a Blade Tech or something? This is Blade Tech. So this is just a Blade Tech Glock 19 holster. Very run-of-the-mill standard. I want to call it Kydex, but it's some type of polymer or plastic. I don't know what exactly it is. But my point is this. For holster cross compatibility, and I will tell you, this is going to make some people upset because I see people taking in the waistband holsters and holding them upside down, showing how great the retention is, and I say that's crap. If you have an in the waistband holster, it's going to be cinched against you, between your belt and you. You can control. I'm not worried about the retention on an in the waistband holster. Now, an outside the waistband holster, I'm very concerned about the retention on. So that's very important, especially if running or moving. But an inside the waistband holster, usually just the retention comes, from the clothing and the body, or at least I found that to be the case. So some of these guns are hard to find holsters for. Sig P229 is not a terribly hard gun to find a holster for. The XC is a new gun, although the C2 holsters I think do fit it. But I just want to show you something. So here we have a Glock 19, standard Glock 19 or Glock 23, same gun, plastic holster here. And there's no way, forget the optic, there's just no way this is seating in here. It's just way too big of a gun. Whereas the XC drops in perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. So now you've got a gun, the XC, you just opened up a whole avenue to holsterability. I coined that. That's my word, holsterability. Anyway, and it's just having that ability to get this into multiple holsters is going to make it easier for you to find something that you're comfortable with. So that's a Glock 19 holster. This is one of Cherry's holsters that sits behind the belt. This is interesting, and I have issues with, I love and hate this holster, and I can do a whole video just on this holster. But again, this is made for a Glock 19, and whoops, hold on, it's not going to fit backwards. But there's no way, no chance that this is going to fit in here. It has nothing to do with the optic. It's just a thick, big steel gun. Whereas the XC drops right in perfectly. I mean, right where you want it. And the belt actually goes around the grip. So you do have zero to worry about with retention. Now, if you're one of the people who really is worried about retention of holding upside down, forget it. It does not have, it's actually too thin to even have retention in this. I do not count that as a negative. Now, since I had the Sig first, I kind of have a plethora of Sig holsters. I'm just going to show you a couple of them. So this is a crossbreed on the Velcro on the belly band, and this is designed for the Sig with an optic. So there we go. So there she is. All right, that's the Sig with the optic. Now the XC drops right in, no problem. So anything that the Sig goes in, the XC is going to be fine in, or at least I found that to be the case. This is also, this is a belly band by Crossbreed. Also, the holster though we're looking at is a, what's this thing called? Stealth Gear. Yeah, I've got several of these Stealth Gears. Also, love-hate relationship with them. The company's great. The holsters have been, some have been good. Anyway, see, these companies really have to start supporting the channel. Anyway, this is the 229 in place. It's got the optic cut out for it. It's kind of perfect for that. And it's got great retention for those of you worried about that. Let's go to the CS. Drops in perfectly, and not only does it drop in perfectly, not great retention, but good retention. But again, once you cinch your belt over this, you've got retention. So since we have my two favorite guns, and I love the fact that the CS can fit into the 229's holsters. Now, let's just take a quick look at an outside the waistband. This is one that I really like, and this was made for the Sig 229, which fits in it perfectly, very nicely for an OWB, and it's cut out for the optic, and again, great retention. So OWB with the Staccato CS, very nicely fit in there. And let's see, we've got decent retention. So I had to shake it to make it come out, and of course gravity's working against me, but it's got decent retention. But again, like I said, if I'm doing outside the waistband, I'm probably going for the bigger brothers of these guns, either the P on the Staccato or the 226 on the Sig Sauer. So let's come back to these beauties. Hold on. All right. So, who is my current favorite? It's going to be Staccato right now. they shoot equally. Some of the best shooting I've ever done has been with these two guns. And as I said, it's not fully fair to equate them since I'm dealing with an optic on this and irons on this. But this is an easier gun to carry. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit less length, a little bit less width. The grip is outstanding. I really, really, really like this is a different type of grip than the older Staccatos had, and it really works for me a lot. Really, really a fan. So, the Staccato XC, the Staccato CS, for the moment, the Staccato CS edges out the 229 for me slightly. I still love this gun. So I'm still going to carry this gun. I'm still going to utilize this gun. But right now, I guess this is the favorite for the moment. I don't even want to say it in front of this one. All right. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for going on DoctorTactical.com. I appreciate any purchases that you make or any donations that you make to the channel. It's very, very helpful to me so that I can get more stuff out here to show you. And I just want to thank you all for all the support you've given so far. I'm Dr. Tactical. Dr. Tactical, out.